Hi, Andy from The Bike Insurer here, and today we want to share with you some top tips for handling your bike. And so our first tip is how to manoeuvre and turn your bike using its side stand. So pivot turning your bike is where you balance all of the weight of the bike on its side stand. So the only part of the bike that's touching the ground is that side stand. Now we've spoken to the manufacturers and they've all said they don't recommend doing it. They say that the side stand isn't designed to withhold that kind of weight. And of course, actually, if you look at it, it probably doesn't look like it is. Now we also spoke to some dealerships. Now they're the culprits, they're the ones that do this all of the time, and they're the ones that say they've never had a bike snap a side stand by doing this manoeuvre. So I guess really it's a personal risk thing, it's entirely down to you. I think everybody, like the manufacturers, say don't do it, but it does happen a lot and it can be really handy. So if we go through it in stages, we've got to remember that most of the weight of the bike is in front of the side stand. So the hardest bit out of all of this is getting the bike up and getting it balanced. So you'd have a really firm grip at the rear of the bike with your right hand, and with your left hand you're using your handlebar. And actually both of these hands are going to do all the lifting, and then once the bike's up on its side stand, the right hand is the one that's going to do the turning, and all the weight is on the side stand. It's not really in your arms. So let me show you how that works. So all we've got here is the right hand here is doing most of the work in supporting the bike, and the left is just guiding it just in case something goes wrong. And to turn this from this point on now, all we're going to do is use our right hand, keep the bike sort of as close as we can to us, and use that right hand to guide the bike round. And you can stop there and just put the bike down again. It's something that you probably wouldn't do every single day, but certainly if you were trying to turn your bike around on your driveway, and that's going to be like a 6 or 7 point turn, or in a tight spot like this today on one of the green lanes in Kent, then using the pivot turn is something that's worth considering. And our second tip is, what are the key things you should be doing if your bike falls over? So you've been out on a bike and it's fallen over, and that could have happened for a number of reasons. It could be through no fault of your own. A car driver could have reversed into it in a car park and you've come back to it laying on its side, or you could have had a bit of an off-road that's really common like we have here today. Either way, there's a number of ways that you can pick the bike up again, but the first thing you've got to remember to do is calm down. Inevitably, when a bike is on its side, there's adrenaline involved, and that's because you just realise that you've got to repaint those fairings again, or they might be cracked headlights, or you've come off-road and you've had a bit of a near miss, but you're all right. So the biggest thing to remember to do is breathe, take a few moments, and approach picking up that bike again with a sensible plan. So the first thing to do if you were riding the bike is to get down and turn the ignition off, and that way you know if there is any fuel leaking, the electrics aren't turned on the bike. So what we want to do is make sure that we get our weight under the bike and we use ourselves as leverage to lift it up. So we always start on the side of the bike that's fallen over, so we never try and lean over a bike and pull it up. We always get under it and push it up. And you'll always find when you're picking bikes up is to have, if you have the steering on the opposite lock, so the lock in the direction you want to head up on, make sure you have the front brake covered as well, because it gives you a little bit more grip. And all you've got to do in this case is use your weight to pick the bike up. What you don't want to be doing is trying to pick it up with it on lock like this, because what will happen is as you push it, the front will roll away from you. If you try and pick this bike up now, what's going to happen is your weight's all over the shop already, it's very hard, and you'll find that the front can roll away. And some other tips for you while we're here: just make sure that when you're picking the bike up, you're not grabbing any hot parts, and make sure that you are holding onto an area of the bike that's firm and secure, so that you do get a good grip on the bike when you try to lift it up. And lastly, our final tip is how to walk your bike around safely. So the simple rule is when you're manoeuvring the bike, I would have the engine switched off, I would have it in neutral, I would have my hands on the handlebars, and I would have the front brake covered, and lift the bike up off its side stand, Put the side stand away because it can catch you in your feet when you're walking it. Nice balance, and walk the bike in whatever direction you want to take it. Well, that's it. That's our top tips on handling your bike, and for more from The Bike Insurer, please visit our YouTube channel and our social media pages.